Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching in the world. Sean Driver, the Red Horde, and it is the continuation of the Who Are You series, where we take a look at the teams that are around League One and end up looking into the gaffer, the players, the changes they've made, what to expect, how they've been performing, the stats, and sort of just a general overview of who are they. Trying to do this all in one take, and so you're going to end up hearing a couple of bells and whistles just like that, and we're going to keep on rolling with it. And the ultimate question is for Shrewsbury. Hey, look, it's a derby. It's a trap game. We're going to have to figure it all out, and so let's just jump right into it. So far, I think you have to say the season has gone better than could have been expected for Wrexham. I know when I looked at the first 6 games of this season, you see away games, Peterborough, Bolton, Birmingham. You end up seeing this derby match. You see a couple of other tough home matches, and you think, holy, welcome to League One. If we can get 8 points, is that decent enough? Is that we're past that 10 points? It's been an exceptional start, and so this now has become sort of a trap game. Obviously, it's a derby, and for those of you who are not familiar with the derby, just think of it as a rivalry game. Battle of Alberta in hockey, the Iron Bowl if you're in college football, or Michigan, Ohio, the Yankees, the Red Sox. Along those lines, it fits with geographical rivalry. They're exceptionally close. You've got cross-border derby, cross-border rivals, obviously Wrexham and Wales, Shrewsbury in England, and so it's a thing, and it involves increased policing. It involves a history of fisticuffs, and it has gone back to like the 60s, 1966, and maybe prior, but that's really when it all got heated after Shrewsbury took out Wrexham in both cup competitions back in 66. And so upwards and onwards from there. So what do we do when we look at this is we just jump into everything, and here it is. This is the Shrewsbury Town FC summary that I've been doing for everybody. Last year, 19th League One. They have been in League One for an exceptionally long period of time. Sort of Shrewsbury stuck in a tie the knot in the rope and hold on. There hasn't been much upward trajectory, but they haven't been falling apart. And I think at the start of the season, a lot of Shrewsbury fans were looking at, is this a season where we end up falling down into League Two? For me personally, I had them in that bottom four for the relegation zone for whatever that's worth. But nicknames, the Shrews, Salop, or Salopians. I looked up what that was last year as far as the etymology is concerned. Salop, Shropshire, it's the same etymology it's derived from, so nothing flashy there. Founded in 1886, 76,782 in the population in Shrewsbury. That's 17th largest. We did play them last year, a 1-0 game, dominated in possession, which was intriguing and not necessarily the style we've employed this year, and they missed a lot of chances, and that was sort of the thing, is they had no finish. Turnover 6.2, so not completely falling off the map. That's 16th in League One, which is pretty impressive given the size of the club and the stadium and all those details. And the profit loss, not bad, minus 3 million. Their social media, 370,000. To put that into perspective again, we're 10 times larger. Obviously a byproduct of Welcome to Wrexham, and an increase in numbers that have fallen in love with the club and community, but they are straggling behind in that regard. Distance, look, obviously it's the derby match. They're the closest one travel that Wrexham's going to make when we go to visit New Meadow, Crowd Meadow. 53 kilometers, 33 miles, and we'll go through the distance and travel there. Away allocation, you can anticipate about 1,800. That's tied for 14th. Capacity, tied for 16th. Still surprising to me in League One that you can end up with so many stadiums that have less than 10,000, but they're there. The percentage, only 64% using the capacity last year, which put them 20th in attendance, and that's part of sort of the I guess lack of excitement that's existing in Shrewsbury when you've had an owner that's been there as long as they have, sort of finishing around the same period of the table. There's been no growth and no decline, and it's just been flatlined. Pitch dimensions, as we said, still one of the surprising things about League One, the variance in the size of the dimensions. Shrewsbury has the second largest pitch area in the league, so a bigger field, and away we go with that. As to just some of the details as far as going through the window capture, wrong one to start with. There you go. closest travel distance. You're looking at like a 1 hour, 47-minute travel time depending on the roads. As to their kit, they've actually swapped over from Umbro to Oyen being a Doncaster based manufacturer that started to get larger into the clothing thing. They've been doing rugby league with the Leeds Rhinos. They've been doing obviously the Donny Rovers for a couple of seasons now. Shrewsbury picking them up. I don't like the kit, and that's been the one thing with I said Oxen. One of the frustrations with Oxen has been not so much their design, it's been their color palette. It just always seems to be pale, and the blue and the gold don't pop for me like it has in the past. Obviously the white, there's not much to it. You may not like the collar, it is very polo collarish, but I'm okay with that. Maybe not the button downs, and so I've just found it to be bland as far as the color palette, and so hopefully they improve that. I haven't heard any negatives with respect to the quality of the kit for wear. It's just been no pop, and so anyway, they've swapped over. They have changed managers. We're going to go through a number of their changes. Paul Hurst has come over. This is from back in 2017 during his first run. He's basically gone like Grimsby Town, Shrewsbury, had an play with Ipswich, I believe it was, and then went back to Grimsby, and now with Shrewsbury again. He's won a Sky Bet League One Manager of the Month, and he had an exceptional start in 2017, and so trying to relive past glory by going with Mr. Hurst. As to where they are league performance-wise, not a lot of honors. They were in the EFL Trophy final on 2 occasions, don't have a win on it. FA Cup, EFL Cup, they have no wins there, and they've got a couple of promotion championships and runner-up prizes, but this has really been about a team that has been mired in the 3rd division, 4th division with just a cup of coffee up in Tier 2. They haven't had the struggles and dipped down into the National League, but they've just been steady, constant all the way through. Their owner is he's just got his Order of England, Shrewsbury Town, Roland Wycherley. He's actually looking to potentially sell the club, and that's been rumored from 2021, and he's been talking about it as recently as this summer. And so he's one of the longest standing directors in all of the EFL, being there since 1992, became a chairman in 1996, and that's again continuing with the standard sort of thread of things. So there are the details with respect to Shrewsbury Town. Not much more I can give you on that. I'm going to jump into the season stats while we're on this page and then go back and show you the players. So as far as the season goes, the only similar teams that we've played against, Peterborough, we obviously took them down 2-0 away and had an exceptional game, no shots against. They lost at home to them 4-1. They have one win, that against bottom of the table Leyton Orient. They took out down a 3-0 win just recently. Up until that point in time, really very limited success. They had one goal prior to that, that in the Peterborough game. Away, they haven't been performing very well. 0 goals, but only 1 given away on both of those occasions. And so I've put their record up there to sort of review things for you. As far as, I went the wrong way and went to the referee first. This is their stats, and you're going to see some similarities here, except for one big difference. You'll notice our goals per shots on target. We're leading League One with that, and that's that efficiency that we've been demonstrating in the first game. Comfortable with other teams in possession, and then we come downhill on you in attack, and we've been able to been precise and been specific, and there have been some wonderful passing. You look at the Marriott goal where he got the pass back from Palmer that was led over on the cross that, oh man, was it Cannon or was it Lee? I think it was Lee. Then you have the other one that just happened that Marriott scored going over top, where it was played into the middle and Dobson got the pass over. There have been some amazing goals, and that is visible in our goals per shots on target. You take a look at the possession, we're equal, both at 35.3% for the season. You look at accurate passes, we're accurate passes per match, we're 23rd, they're 24th. So there are some similarities in style, but I'm going to suggest that where the big difference is, I mean, ignore the X-goal stuff. You can kind of ignore the accurate crosses and long balls. We're close, we're tied on crosses, is really that efficiency. Again, like last year, they don't have anybody up front who can stir the drink, who can put things together, and that's been where their struggle has been. As to the referee that we're going to be getting, these stats, I don't think you you can get much from those because it's too early in the season. But Alex Chilowitz, we saw him in the Salford game in League Two. That was a 3-1 loss. If you remember that game, that was one where Ogonkwo had just come back. He was wearing his mask, and it was the one game that I really thought that he struggled to come out and challenge ball. So sort of an abnormal game to say what we got from Alex, but I don't recall there being anything egregious with the refereeing in that game. It was largely just the corners. We had the Olympico that came from one side. We had the failure to go and collect on the other when it was ball up in the air that got potted in. And so it is what it is. Alex has only had one game in League One so far, and there are the stats. I mean, his yellow cards, he's below average. His red cards, well, there's only been 2 referees who have given them out, so he's below that norm. And the penalties, he hasn't given away any there. So we're dealing with a guy who really I don't think is going to factor into things, and I'm hoping that that's the case. Wanted to talk about the players, and I'm going to go back here to do it. I'm going to slide over to here and bring this up because I think the best way to bring the players is to look at this is the roster that we played against them in the FA Cup last year. And the reason I wanted to bring it up was just to show sort of the changeover before I introduce the new players. And so this is the lineup, the starting lineup in the FA Cup. Bowman, he went off to Cheltenham Town. Shipley is still there. Sabawali went to Swindon. Benning still there. And then you've got Kene, who goes up to Hibernian in Edinburgh. Perry, he's still there and actually performing quite well. Him and one other, probably the two that will be stirring the drink and trying to lead things within the midfield and connecting up front to try and overcome their deficiencies, which seem to be continuing for a second year over. Bennett, he retired. Anderson went to Sunderland. Dunkley went to Chesterfield. Feeney stayed in Shrewsbury, and Morosi, he's still a free agent looking for work with the PFA. And you're saying, okay, well, that's just the starters. Certainly they had more players than that were, because it was a cup match, that were probably started. So I brought those ones up as well. Bayless went to Lincoln City. Roland went to St. Mirren up in the Scottish Premiership. Jason Sraha goes over to Burton Albion. Max Madha goes all the way to Auckland FC on a loan. Pierre stays. Burgoyne goes to Morecambe, and Winchester, and he's actually been doing all right as well with Shrewsbury, and then they had 2 young academy players. So all told, a massive changeover for everything. And what do they bring in? Look, it's interesting to say there have been some Twitter discussions about mercenaries and Wrexham hiring people to bring them down and all that sort of stuff. And I don't believe that to be true. I don't consider them mercenaries. They were paid commensurate for their performance and for their opportunity. They went down, they did a job, and they're back up into the league that they were supposed to be in. That's part of football, is when you have turnover, when you drive capital, you can reap the rewards, and that is to spend on improving your team. I get the frustration, though. If you're a Shrewsbury fan, you're dealing with stagnation. It's been the same thing. And so what do you end up getting? You get laterals all over the place. 3 players brought in from Bristol Rovers last year, not a team that performed exceptionally well, just straight transfer overs. You've got a bunch of loan players that have come in, and you've got a player from Bradford City who's actually doing not bad. Other than that, and a Grimsby Town striker. They're lateral transfers and not really anyone who's a big step up or a big step down. It's sort of, we're just going to throw a whole bunch of new ingredients into the pot and hope that whatever cooks smells good. And so far, I mean, they're near the bottom of the table for a reason, and I suggest that that's it. They're in full survival mode. Just hope that they can eke things out, and that will be the story of their game against the Kairos. Again, a trap game. I don't want the club looking ahead to Birmingham and thinking, we're at the top of the table. Not a lot of other teams are playing on Saturday because of the international window. There's cancellations and things going on. So I hope that the team is focused enough to get past the trap game, take care of business at home and grab 3 points, and then we're top of the table. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, reverse jinx, do whatever you need to do to get rid of that voodoo. The only player I think is probably worth mentioning, Castledine. Leo, 19 years of age, and he's a loan from Chelsea. He's only had the one match. He came in for 78 minutes, but he had a goal, and from his FOTMOB stats, tippity top level work, and early reports are positive. So Castledine looking to draw in, and maybe a big reason as to the difference between their performance for Shrewsbury prior to their game against Leyton Orient, prior to the game against Leyton Orient, and why they were able to come out with a 3-0 win. So we shall see. On the road, it's going to be a struggle. You're walking into the belly of the beast in the racecourse roar. So we will see where things are going. As far as a UK food, I didn't consider what I would. Oh, I don't know if it's a UK traditional food or not, but I'm just going to end up calling it a stew, because it's the same ingredients, just mixed up. I mean, they haven't changed anything. It's an old stale stew thrown in more pepper and salt in the hope that that's going to make the stew taste better. I don't know. That's where I'm going with it. Look, if you like this sort of stuff, the subscribe button is down below. What else do I do? I've got the hors d'oeuvres, where I end up taking a look at things that happen off the pitch and how they impact things on the pitch as far as regulations and finances go. We do the watch parties. We will be there for this one on Saturday, 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern, obviously 3 o'clock in the UK, and wherever you are around in the world, come and check us in and have the chat. And this was a rapid fire quick one, 16 minutes. If there is somebody from Shrewsbury who wants to do a response, I'm happy to chat with you. I'd like to get into the heat of this if possible, because, and I didn't go through a lot of that history, but it's all proximity based, really, and all started in 1966 with the 6-1 and 5-1 drubbing. Off the top of my head, do I check it? I'll leave that. Anyway, they buried us, and that was the reason for the start of it. Since then, we have had more wins than they have, but they've been ahead of us on the table for, well, obviously 15, 16 years, because of our dip down into the National League, and now we're back. So I would like to think that the pathway forward for Wrexham is rosier. Certainly looks that way. And we'll see if they're able to hold on for yet another year. I didn't even check how many years it's been that they've been stuck in League One. Probably around the same amount of time that we were stuck in the National League, just grinding it out and staying there, but nothing flashy. I keep repeating the same thing, so I'll sign off. Subscribe, like, come and see us on Saturday. Have a good one, and this is the Red Horde. Thanks for being here.